What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Red Cloud Society. This week, we're bringing it back to another versus battle, and my dear lord, this is probably going to be a pretty hot one. Jiraiya versus Danzo. Two high-ranking Leaf Ninja, both with, lore and feats and everything in the world going on in the series. This is going to be a tough one, but let's see how it shakes out. First things first, I just want to exclude Danzo from using fucking Kodo Amatsukami. Like, with his Hashirama cells, he can use it like once a day or once an hour or whatever, and that's just, a ridiculous one-shot hack. So, no Kodo Amatsukami. He can still use that extra Sharingan for Izanagi if he wants. That's fine. But no fucking Kodo Amatsukami. We're going to skip both base characters and kind of just go right into Danzo using his Sharingan arm versus Jiraiya's imperfect Sage mode, and just see where it kind of goes from there. Last thing, so much contradicting scaling and different feats and all this crazy shit and data books and whatever, so it's going to be really hard to scale these guys out. So we're just kind of going to make a case for Danzo, make a case for Jiraiya, and see where it gets at the end.
Yeah, so I'll just go with Jiraiya because I'm more familiar with his lore and the showings that he has and the just weird contradictions there are. I just want to start. The first one I want to start with is the Four Tails thing. Yeah, he got bodied, I guess, by Four Tails Cloak Naruto when Orochimaru was dancing around Four Tails Cloak Naruto, or not Four Tails Cloak. Yeah, it was Four Tails Cloak Naruto with no arms. But, I mean, you don't really see it, and you know that the situation was completely different than what Orochimaru was doing. Orochimaru was trying to instigate him and test him. Jiraiya, for the love of God, was trying to not have that happen. It was trying to put a fucking seal on his head. So it's weird. I don't know how I feel about it, but I will give that to people. He did get fucking smacked in the chest by Four Tails Naruto and nearly died. The other one is, I'll say this one real quick. The other one is with Itachi when Jiraiya and Naruto were off doing their thing and Sasuke showed up and Itachi's like, Kisame, we cannot fucking fight him. We'll die. Or we won't win. We'll probably just draw, if not die. That's weird because, like, obviously, I love to hear that, love Jiraiya, but I don't believe it because Itachi is fucking nuts. So is Kisame. And looking back after finding out what Itachi is doing, it's like, did he really fucking mean that? I don't think so. So it's just weird. I think Jiraiya would put up a good fight, no doubt, but I can't use that too much. I have to take that statement with a major grain of salt. But you're about to say something before I cut you off.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, Jiraiya just has so many contradicting like feats and statements and shit that it's just genuinely annoying. Because obviously, I like Jiraiya, but yeah, the thing you just brought up, like him getting bitch slapped by Four Tails Naruto when you see like on the verge of death Orochimaru like have the time of his life fighting him it's like a genuinely shitty showing, and you can use that. But you bring up a good point that obviously he wasn't trying to hurt or kill Naruto, like he just wanted to subdue him, whereas Orochimaru was actually fighting him, so that makes a difference. And then also, just like all that other shit, like in the data books, he's like the second strongest character of all time.
And he's tied with Itachi for number one, I think.
Yeah, tied for Itachi with number one. And then, so like that backs up that statement, but like, is it only in there because of that statement? And it's also, I agree that, a lot of people think that he just said that because he didn't want to hurt Konoha and fight one of their really good ninja because he was protecting the village. So like I feel like that's a really, really fair assumption. But at the other times in the series, people say that whoever is stronger than them or vice versa, and like people take it as law. So it's like, do you have to take that as law? Because if so, like, holy fuck. But you know,
yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah. Anyway, so go ahead.
So those are like the two big contradictions that I can think of for him. And then just a couple other things. Is he fought Hanzo with Orochimaru and Tsunade. Not much is known about Hanzo other than he was fucking insane. So, I mean, credit to him for that, but there's not much about it. Like, they just survived and got dubbed the Sannin. Like, cool. I think the big thing that you have to rely on is, I don't know if you said it, but I think you consider that a not great showing. I don't think it's a bad showing. His fight versus Pain, I was actually rewatching it a little earlier, and I was just getting like, the important cutscenes from it, and he put up a pretty good fight considering he knew absolutely nothing going into it. And I think for me, it boils down to how would Danzo do in that situation, because they're both insanely strong, and that's the only thing that I can really think of comparing it to, just because Jiraiya is it's so wishy-washy with the shit that he has in his past and the lore and everything.
Yeah, so when we were talking about this beforehand, yeah, I did remark that, Jiraiya's Sage Mode showing versus Pain was kind of a bad showing, and while I still agree with that, I do kind of want to amend my statement by saying both Pain's showing in that fight and Jiraiya's showing are both just fucking weird, and I feel like both are not a really good gauge of either character, because Pain remarks if Jiraiya found out our secret, we would have lost or whatever, but I feel like that just means we can't blow up our own fucking village, so we would have to retreat or whatever. You know what I mean? Because it's okay, he didn't even fight the Diva Path, and obviously Pain's strongest abilities are Massive Shinra and Shibaku Tensei, and he couldn't use either of those in the Rain Village. And so, that really kind of put a nerf on Pain, but at the same time, Jiraiya had no fucking idea what was going on, was fighting 6 people at once in their own village where he was just totally clueless. So, and he still, did pretty well and killed a couple of them and put up a really good counter fight to the Animal Path, but then he did die, and he did die when the fucking the better ones showed up, or just they all showed up. And I mean, I don't know. It's just, that's what I'm saying. It's just so hard to scale.
Yeah, he died when okay, so it depends on who you think the second. Obviously, the Diva Path is the strongest. The Animal and the Asura Path are debatably the second and third. It's just, who do you think is stronger than the other? I mean, the Asura Path literally just fucking was hey, what's up? Yoinked his left arm out and then crushed his fucking throat. But he did kill the Animal, the Preda, and the Naraka Path. I mean, the Naraka Path's the weakest. It just fucking can tell if you're lying and rips your tongue out and shit, and can restore people. Yeah. But the Animal Path is really fucking strong, and the Preda Path is just a nuisance when you're fighting one of those offensive paths, because it just absorbs all your fucking jutsus. So that's why I think it's a good showing. Then obviously right after that, he died. But up till that point, it was a pretty good fight.
So here's the other thing. I would put the Asura Path at 2 behind the Diva Path, just because it's really fucking weird and durable. And also, especially against Jiraiya, a reason I would argue against his showing against the Animal Path is because I feel like that's something Jiraiya has a perfect counter for, and throughout the whole series, he was already shown to use a ton of summoning jutsus and all the big ass toads. So it was okay, we know he can fight this guy off, and all right. So at this point, if we kind of want to segue into the argument for Danzo,
Yeah.
Obviously, I know pretty much everybody knows his abilities. You know, he's got really high level wind style. He's got Izanagi. We are ruling out Kodo Amatsukami. He does seem to have some pretty strong sealing jutsu as well. Like obviously his suicide bomb seal, which we'll rule that out as well because that's
That's a
just a
draw.
tie. That's a tie at best. Same with like Datara using C0 or some shit. But
Yeah.
he did put that like body curse mark on Sasuke, which was pretty impressive. And he, like I said, he does have that suicide bomb. So, and then obviously Izanagi is the big one. He seems pretty fluent at taijutsu as well. If he's fucking 70 years old and can hang with MS Sasuke, so he's got a lot of potential. Obviously, a ton of people fucking hate him, and for good reason. So I'm doing a little bit of dirty work, hyping him up right now. But he is a pretty strong character. Going back to the whole remarks thing, like Kakashi was pretty shocked that MS Sasuke beat Danzo, so like that's something. And he was always kind of considered as like Hiruzen's equal or like fucking rival or whatever. So you could put him at like Kage level just because of that, which I feel like is fair to say. And then getting back into what you were saying before, I feel like a good thing to bring up would be pitting him up against Pain, just to kind of talk about how he would do in the Rain Village if he was in the same position as Jiraiya. And that's a really interesting topic because I feel like he would do well against a lot of other things that Jiraiya didn't do well against, and like vice versa. Like I feel like the animal path would give Danzo a lot of trouble because it's just like so much shit. But meanwhile, if the Diva Path wants to Shibaku Tensei the whole fucking village or use massive Shinra Tensei, like he'll just tank it easily with Izanagi. So it's really weird in that sense. But that being said, I feel like he would do as well as Jiraiya did, maybe even a little better, maybe. One thing to think of in that regard is it seems like Izanagi, which is like, his, which is super fucking hacks to begin with, but like his, I guess, comp to Jiraiya is like Sage Mode, like that's his buff to get to his max level. He can activate it way fucking faster than Jiraiya can go into imperfect Sage Mode. I mean, he was being pressed by Pain, but it did seem like it took fucking forever for him to go into Sage Mode, and obviously we know he needs Ma and Pa, but in this fight, they may just help him with, like, supplemental jutsus, but Danzo needs 3 hand signs, and he's, like, has that shit active, and he's immortal for 10 minutes, or 11 minutes. If he's using Shizudai.
If he uses the 11th. And I was just thinking about it. It is weird matching him up against Pain. And I actually think a head-to-head battle is easier to envision between Jiraiya and Danzo, because the thing with Danzo against Pain is, the animal path is a problem for him. And Danzo's summoning, I don't remember its name. I just don't think it's going to be helpful at all in that situation. Like even if he was able to suck up all of the paths of Pain, like I don't think that would kill them. It would just fucking rip out from the inside. Like I don't know if Danzo has like the destructive capability to destroy the bodies. You know what I mean? So I think that's why it would be a problem for him.
Yeah, I mean his wind style is pretty strong. Like his vacuum waves and shit were slicing through rocks and like did cut Sasuke. And Christ, when he even did like the really big vacuum blast at the end, like it was peeling into the fucking Susanoo, even though that summoning was helping it, but it's like it was peeling that shit away. Like he was gonna go for it. Like I think his wind style or his wind chakra blade like could slash up the paths because they're not that durable if it came to that.
It probably could. But now, if you're down for it, I want to transition into just those two. Let's say it's Jiraiya on the bridge against Danzo instead of MS Sasuke, and see how that goes. Now, I do want to say this before we go into that. that fight with Danzo and Sasuke, it hasn't been said, but Sasuke also just fought all the other fucking Kage and has been running around the fucking world like just being a goon. So, and he's going blind in this fight. So it's a very tired Sasuke. I think that takes away from the fact that Danzo was keeping up with Sasuke. Not entirely, just a little bit. I want that to be out there.
Okay. Not going to try to defend Danzo too much here, but in all fairness, Sasuke, A, has the thickest plot armor of any character. B, he did get chakra restored by the white Zetsu spore thing at the Kage Summit and saved by Obito and had like a little while to rest. Not to mention, Danzo did use Kodo Matsukami already, like at the summit, like just trying to be a scheme. So I don't know how much chakra that used, but he did use that, like his one shot for the day or whatever. And then he is like, at this point in the series, I'm pretty sure he's over 70, whereas Sasuke is like 16 or 17. So I feel like it kind of evens out, but I do understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, even though Sasuke did get his chakra restored, he just kept pushing the fucking Mangekyo, and that was just draining even more as he went by. So, yeah, I mean, if he didn't get his chakra restored, it might have been a different fight, but I mean, he was still going blind almost. But let's just go into head-to-head, those two on that bridge. How do you think it's going to go down after everything we just talked about?
All right, so I think intel does matter. I'm just going to assume they kind of both know a lot about each other.
Yeah.
You know, just from both being in the Leaf. I kind of hate to say this, but I almost want to assume that Danzo knows Jiraiya has Sage Mode or something like that, because he like knows all about the toads and everything. And but at the same time, I feel like Jiraiya doesn't know about Izanagi because like nobody knew about that shit. Like, wasn't that the first time it was introduced in the series when he used it against Sasuke? Like, and
yeah, it was the first time it was introduced that he had it, yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's like fucking Karin, who is like a high-level sensory ninja, like had no idea what the fuck was going on. And even after seeing all the Sharingan, like it took fucking Obito, who pretty much knew everything because of working with Madara and Black Zetsu. Like, he had to see Danzo use Wood Style before he put it together, like, oh, Hashirama cells and Sharingan, like, he's using fucking Izanagi, like, this is sus.
Yeah, no, I agree. I can't imagine that Jiraiya knows that he has Sharingan eyes on his arm, and he has fucking Hashirama cells. And I feel like it's pretty, at least, it's pretty well known among the higher ups that Jiraiya trained at Goku, so, I mean, that's fair to say. I do think that Jiraiya is smart enough to figure out what's going on. He may not be like, oh, he's not okay. He goes on for roughly this amount of time. He fucking doesn't die, but he'll eventually see the eyes closing if he's getting off those. I guess I have to fucking close all those eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even make the case that maybe like Ma and Hobbs could like help him figure it out or know something about it. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, even if he figures it out, I mean, like, can Jiraiya just like spam enough shit to get Danzo to use it all up and then land a killing blow? But at the same time, I feel like, you know, Danzo, like, I feel like at first they're not going to be able to sense what's going on, and, you know, like, even when he, like, would die and disappear and then come back, like, Karin and everybody else when he was fighting Sasuke, like, didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, it wasn't, like, a genjutsu. Like, they couldn't sense genjutsu. They wasn't using any clones, and, like, yeah, Jiraiya's in Sage Mode, but he also got blitzed by the Osteropath. Like, I hate to bring that up again, but like, it did happen, so it's like, is he just going to appear behind him at some point when Jiraiya's tired, and, like, that's going to be it?
Yeah, so the thing is, you didn't bring it up, but I just want to say, I don't think Jiraiya will have trouble getting into his Sage Mode, because I don't know what the fuck was going on during the Pain fight, but that motherfucker's literally running around, fucking just disregarding all the rules that was set for Naruto to learn how to use Sage Mode. He's just running around on top of a fucking frog, just getting thrown around, and he's still like gathering Sage or nature energy.
Yeah.
So the thing with him is, I think if he pulls out his summoning, and then he has Ma and Pa, I think he can spam enough to get Danzo to start using it. I think it's going to come down to, does Danzo have the lethal capability and the speed, like you brought up, to finish Jiraiya? Now, Jiraiya, after he thought he had just killed the only 3 paths that he had to kill, and then the osteopath pulled up on him. I agree, kind of sus. He should have fucking sensed it in Sage Mode, because that's, there's chakra being emitted to the fucking body. But I think in a fight where he's like, look, this is life or death, I don't think he's going to get blitzed that easily by Danzo. I think it's thing, really... Though,
if you make that case, can't you all, like, okay, so he like kills the paths of pain, and then it's like, sweet, I killed them, and then gets speed blitzed by the osteopath. And then, but can't you just make the case then that, Jiraiya bodies Danzo with like some giant, like a massive Rasengan, or like a giant toad flame thing, or just anything, like just fucking wrecks him, and like he sees him dead there, and he's like, cool, I just won. And then Danzo just appears behind him and is like, JK, bitch, and then does the same thing the osteopath did.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. I think it comes down, like in that situation, I think it comes down to, can Danzo do that? I mean, can he just reappear wherever the fuck he wants? If he's getting like shot at from hundreds of yards away with ninjutsu, can he just appear behind Jiraiya? And also Danzo is like, he's such a fucking condescending little shit. So he would just like show back up and be like, oh, you thought you had me, Jiraiya. Of course, fucking Hiruzen's pupil is just a dumbass. Yeah. Like, I don't think he would just blitz him right out of a Izanagi and be like, you are fucking done.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing too. Like, this man slayed that messenger toad. Like, what if he just gets at Ma or Pa or something, and Jiraiya has to deactivate his Sage Mode because of that? Like, what if he's like, oh, this, like, Hiruzen's stupid fucking pupil with his stupid fucking frogs, and just, like, Izanagi appears behind him and just, like, slashes Ma's back, and then it's like, Pa's a fucking wreck, his wife just died, and, like, Jiraiya's not in Sage Mode, and then you still have, like, full power Danzo coming at him, and it all happens so fast that he doesn't, like, know his jutsu yet, so he could kind of get cucked in that sense, but at the same time, like, if Jiraiya gets set up, he can just spam so many fucking jutsu. So,
yeah, and he's got a lot of fucking jutsu he can throw out there. I think it's kind of gonna be similar to the Kakazu and Datara fight, where it's just like in that situation, it was, does Kakazu finish it right away, or does Datara, cut to the point? I think here it's, does Danzo use Izanagi once and just fucking blitz him right out of the gate once he reappears? If that is what happens, then yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of similar to what happened with Pain. Jiraiya's getting fucking sliced and diced, like he's done. But if he can only reappear like within the vicinity that he would have been killed in, because I don't think Jiraiya is going to try to do taijutsu battle with him.
Yeah, I mean, so I am about to bring up Obito, who is in a whole different league, but Conan did sink his ass in a sea of fucking paper bombs, and he used it and just appeared, like, on top of the water, like, right fucking behind her. So, I mean,
yeah.
I don't think you could use it to, like, appear in another country, but I feel like the range is somewhat flexible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's just, will Danzo taunt him long enough for Jiraiya to, like, continuously throw jutsu at him? Because if that's the case, then the closer he gets to that last eye, if that last eye is gone, personally, I don't think he's going to use Shishui's Sharingan for an Izanagi. I think he'd be like, I can't fucking lose the Koto Matsukami, and he'd rather die than fucking lose that. But yeah, I mean, if he, like I said, if he appears behind Jiraiya, it's game over. But otherwise, I think Jiraiya is going to be throwing jutsu at him, and that could be enough, especially if he figures out, like, I just got to keep going until those eyes are all gone.
Yeah, I agree with the point you made that duration is a big factor in this one. Like, I feel like Danzo has the ability to kind of just sneak in there and end it pretty quick, and then otherwise, the longer the battle goes on, it tends more in Jiraiya's favor, because if he can just hold on and just spam fucking Sage Jutsu after Sage Jutsu, and Ma and Pa are just like burping in his fucking face, just like holding him off and shit, like eventually he'll figure it out or wear him down. And then if it gets to the point where, like, as we saw, like, Danzo has to use wood style, or like by the time that Izanagi runs out, like, he's going to be drained for fucking chakra, and then I feel like Jiraiya will be able to finish him at that point. It's just a matter if he can last that long and figure it out.
Yeah, and also, I mean, we didn't really mention it, but I mean, how many summons is Jiraiya going to bring to this fight? Like, if he brings a few of the toads, I don't think him getting blitzes is much of a problem. Like, I feel like they'll all be watching each other's back. And this might be a little bit of headcanon, but going back to getting blitzed, as you say, I don't think he was blitzed. I thought he was just caught off guard by the Osteropath.
That's what blitz is, bro.
No, okay, but I mean, not like speed blitzed. I think Jiraiya will... I feel like he'll be able to sense it. Like, he'll sense Danzo's chakra reappearing.
I mean, okay. Let's put it this way then. I mean, who do you think? I don't want to say better sensory skills, but just better awareness, like imperfect Sage Jiraiya or like MS Sasuke, because I feel like his is pretty impressive too, and like when he would smash Danzo in their fight and shit, like it would literally take Karin like all of a sudden sensing him and like screaming at him like, oh fuck, he's over there, before he like got blasted with wind style. Like, so I just don't know if he is going to be able to sense him that well.
I mean, I think he has way better senses than MS Sasuke. I mean, Sasuke's not a sensory type. But I mean, I don't know if it's ever said how good his sensory abilities are in his Sage mode. There's just so much weird shit about Jiraiya that we know and also don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I mean, okay, I don't want to say like, I didn't mean to compare like MS Sasuke to Jiraiya like sensory wise, but I'm just saying like awareness wise, you have imperfect Sage Jiraiya or MS Sasuke with his own personal sensory ninja on top of that. Like, he can see chakra, she can sense it, and they're still like, what the fuck is this old man doing?
I think we've stated the cases for both of them, and I think I know where I stand on it now. Personally, I think that if Danzo is able to use Izanagi once and then get Jiraiya that first time, obviously that's it. Like, he got Jiraiya, it's done. But I think if Jiraiya is able to figure it out and not get caught after that first one, I think it goes to Jiraiya. I think with Ma and Pa and potentially the summon or summonings he may have, they can figure it out. Especially with the eyes being there. I think Jiraiya is definitely smart enough to know.
So the way I really see this one shaking out, even as tough as it is, I think Izanagi is going to be really fucking tough to deal with, and I tend to be on the side of things thinking that Danzo's showing against MS Sasuke, with help, honestly, between Karin and Obito looking on, is a better showing than Jiraiya versus Pain. And I agree with you that the longer the fight goes on, it slips more into Jiraiya's favor. But still, with that in mind, I think to the regret of most of Naruto's fan base, I think I'm going to say Danzo takes it 7 out of 10 times, mid to high difficulty.
Okay. So I'm going to flip back the other way. And this might just be me being a fanboy. And it may just also be me needing to rewatch the Danzo versus Sasuke fight. I'm going to go Jiraiya takes it 6 out of 10 times. High, like very high difficulty.
I mean, I don't think that's
easy about the fight.
I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to say at all. I mean, you can, like I said, I mean, if you just want to be like, the data book says he's the strongest character ever, and Itachi said that he was stronger than him and Kisame, and blah, 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 like, that's fine, but you can also be like, he got waxed by the Four Tails and lost to pain, like, not even the Diva Path, so it's just really tough to scale Jiraiya.
It's just, I know there are people out there who, like, if you have a Sharingan, they're just like, what do you fucking mean they'll lose? Like, they have the fucking Sharingan, dude. Like, so it's tough to say, like, you know, no, this guy would beat this person with 11 fucking Sharingans. But yeah, I'd say 6 out of 10 times high difficulty for sure. Nothing easy about the fight, but
also I feel like it is like the ultimate hacks, so I feel like we've kind of been downplaying a little bit, but like Izanagi is fucking Izanagi. Like, it's just the ultimate, like, immortality jutsu essentially, and Danzo can use this shit for 10 straight minutes if he wants. 10 straight minutes. Like, Obito can use Kamui and be intangible for 5 straight minutes, and like the entire ninja world couldn't even figure out how to beat him. Meanwhile, Danzo can just essentially do that shit for double the time, except it just looks like you killed him, and then he's just like, JK.
Yeah, I mean, Izanagi's a forbidden jutsu for a reason, no doubt. It's fucking OP as shit, other than you go blind afterwards, but...
Right, and whether those shits are in your arm, who cares, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's why he fucking did it, but... is there anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, I mean, I think we've talked for a while about it, and, like, obviously this is a really tough one, and also, not only are there so many scaling issues, but also there's just so much personal bias as well. But they're both really strong. Like I said, I'm going with Danzo 7 out of 10 times, high diff. You're going with Jiraiya 6 out of 10 times, high diff. I feel like both are valid points to argue. And yeah, if you guys have anything else to add, feel free to drop a comment. Please like, subscribe, and we'll have some more stuff for you next week.
Yep, and we'll see you in the next video.